Did you know that there are actual scientific ways to get your dog to love you the most? No, we don't have a dog mind control machine or love potion yet, but we do have 7 scientifically proven ways to ensure that you become your pup's favorite person. Tip number 1. Conditioning. You might have heard of the Pavlov's dog experiment. In 1897, Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov trained dogs to salivate on command by ringing a bell whenever he showed them a yummy piece of meat. After a while, when Pavlov rang the bell, even if he didn't show the dogs the meat, they'd still start drooling. This is called classical conditioning, and it's a way of getting an animal to respond in a certain way to a certain stimulus. But say the stimulus wasn't a bell, and the response you wanted wasn't drooling. You can also condition your pup to feel happy whenever you come into the room by giving them treats and/or affection whenever you see them. Just as Pavlov created an association between the ringing of the bell and the delicious meat, so you can create an association in your own fur baby between your presence and the positive experience of getting a treat or being petted. Tip number 2. Petting, but the dog way. One of the best ways to build a strong bond with your dog is through physical affection. Dogs will show affection to each other through grooming, through licking each other with their tongues, but you probably don't want to go that far in your quest to become your pup's favorite person, unless you're really desperate. Fortunately, petting your dog with your hands has the same effect, if you want to really make your doggo's day. However, then you should try targeting some specific spots. The area behind your dog's ears has a ton of nerve endings, which makes that area extra sensitive. When you scratch behind your pup's ears, you prompt their brain to release positive hormones, including oxytocin, the love hormone, which helps us form strong relationships. Your dog will also likely appreciate a nice scratch to their lower back, near the base of their tail. You might even find that they interrupt your petting sessions to turn around and show you this spot. This desire to have you scratch their butt for them isn't as weird as it seems. Your dog isn't just too lazy to do it themselves. They almost physically can't. The lower back is a very hard place for them to reach, so having a helping human hand is always useful. The same goes for their shoulders and, most of all, the skin underneath their collar. Tip number 3. Training. You might think that training your dog is more about you than about them. After all, left to their own devices, surely your pup would rather run around wherever they like, without needing to wear a leash or come back when called. Surely they'd prefer not to have to bother with sitting, speaking, and rolling over on command. That's all just for your benefit, right? Well, although the specific behaviors we train into dogs usually are for the benefit of their human owners, the act of training your dog is something that directly benefits them. Not only because trained dogs are more able to function in human society, and thus get to do more fun things, like go to the dog park or to friends' houses, but because training your dog involves setting them clear boundaries and expectations, and giving them positive reinforcement when they respect those boundaries and meet those expectations. This actually makes your dog feel more safe and secure than if you just let them run wild and follow their own rules all the time. Training your dog will help them respect you and will strengthen your bond accordingly. Tip number 4. What is your dog's breed? All dogs are bred to bond with humans, but some breeds are more prone to pick a specific favorite human than others. It's all to do with what they were bred to do. Border collies were originally bred as sheepdogs, and many shepherds around the world still use them for that purpose today. In order to do their job, a sheepdog has to be willing to spend hours or even days out in the fields, with their only company being a flock of sheep and one human. As such, collies and other sheepdog breeds are more likely to have a favorite human. The same is true for hunting dogs like dachshunds who, unbelievably, were originally bred to hunt badgers. Yeah, remember that next time you see one dressed like a hot dog. These hunting trips would often involve only 1 or 2 human hunters. Also lapdog breeds, like the Pomeranian, which were bred to sit in a specific person's lap or be held in their arms for long periods of time, and basically be used as a kind of living stuffy. Doing your research before you get a dog can help make sure that you end up with a dog whose personality and instincts are more likely to match up with the kind of relationship you want from them. Most dogs whose jobs would have involved working with only 1 or 2 humans will likely have a tendency towards favoritism, a tendency that you can fully take advantage of. Tip number 5. Puppies. The best time to start bonding with your dog is the first time you bring them home. That's right. Science is telling you to spend more time playing with adorable, wriggly puppies. What a chore. Puppyhood in dogs lasts until about 6 months, after which they become juvenile teenage dogs, potentially with attitudes to match. Puppies tend to bond easier to their human carers for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because they're still young enough to need a parental figure. A young puppy is more likely to look at you as a kind of replacement mom, while a dog you adopted as an adult is going to take longer to warm up to you. Bonding with your dog when they're very young also ensures that, by the time they reach adulthood, you're already a huge part of their life. Think about how many people are still closest to the friends they made when they were kids. It's the same with our dogs and the friends they make as puppies. Tip number 6. Adult dogs. If you're adopting an adult dog, then you might feel like you're starting off your relationship at a disadvantage. After all, you missed out on that all-important puppy stage. Can you really form as strong a bond with your dog if you didn't know them when they were a baby? But there's a benefit to having a dog whose personality has had time to settle. Scientists have found that, when given a choice between multiple human family members, the one a dog picks to be their favorite person will often be the one they have the most in common with personality-wise. If you're a quiet introvert, pick a dog who likes their alone time. If you're more active and social, then pick a dog who likes to make new friends and meet new people. You can likely find out information about your prospective pup's personality by asking the staff at the shelter, or their previous owners. People who find homes for dogs tend to be keen on making sure that those dogs end up in the right homes, and so will probably be more than willing to share any information they have. Tip number 7. Get personal. Listening to experts is important, but sometimes the best thing you can do is listen to your dog. Your pup can't communicate with you by verbally telling you what they want, but by observing their behavior, you can figure out roughly what they want from you as an owner. Is your dog always running around the house or chewing up the furniture? They're telling you that they're bored and need a way to work off their excess energy. Do you find that your pup is always getting into everything, stealing food from closed cupboards and going out of their way to dismantle your belongings? They're telling you that they're understimulated and need something to occupy themselves. Do they tend to bark and howl and wake up the neighbors whenever they get left alone in the house? They're telling you that they're lonely and miss you. So-called bad behavior in dogs is usually the expression of a need that isn't being met. If you take it upon yourself to meet this need, then your dog will undoubtedly be grateful, and you'll likely become their favorite human as a result. To help yourself recognize and respond to these needs, check out this video on how to tell when your dog is lonely.